You do it around 20,000 times a day. You never think about it. You never have to. And yet, right now, reading this, there is a very good chance you are doing it wrong. Not slightly wrong, profoundly, measurably, biologically wrong, and the consequences have been reshaping your face, your sleep, your heart, and your mind since the day you were born. This is the story of breath, and the real answer is far stranger than you think. Take a breath right now. Go ahead. Notice what moved. If your chest rose and your shoulders lifted, you just did what most modern humans do every single time. And here's the problem. That is not how your body was designed to breathe, not even close. Your diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle sitting just below your lungs. It is the primary breathing muscle, the one your body evolved to use. When it contracts, it pulls downward, creating negative pressure inside your chest, drawing air in naturally and deeply. Your belly should rise first, not your chest. Your shoulders should not move at all. This is called diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breathing, and if you just took a breath and your chest moved but your belly stayed flat, you have been overriding this system, probably for years, possibly for your entire life. Why does this happen, and why does it matter? Start with a researcher named James Nestor. He spent years investigating the science of breath, documenting his findings in a book that pulled together centuries of overlooked medical data. One of his key discoveries was this: modern humans are the only species on Earth with chronically misaligned jaws, crooked teeth, and obstructed airways. Every other mammal, from wolves to dolphins to chimpanzees, has straight teeth and open airways unless they are captive and eating processed food. The moment you introduce a soft diet, something changes. The bones of the face stop developing the way they were designed to. The jaw narrows. The palate rises, the airway shrinks, and suddenly breathing correctly becomes structurally harder. Your ancestors chewed for hours every day. Tough meat, fibrous roots, dense seeds. That chewing stress stimulated bone growth across the entire skull. The jaw widened. The nasal passages opened. Teeth had room to grow in straight. Breath flowed easily through a wide, open nasal cavity. You, on the other hand, grew up eating food that required almost no real chewing. Soft bread, cooked vegetables, processed carbohydrates that dissolve in seconds. The mechanical signal that told your skull to keep growing never arrived strongly enough. And the result is a face that is subtly but significantly more compressed than your ancestors. This is not ancient history. This is measurable in your skull right now. Anthropologist Robert Corrucini spent decades comparing skull dimensions across populations with different diets. His conclusion was stark. Traditional populations eating hard, unprocessed foods had dramatically wider dental arches and larger airways than industrialized populations eating soft diets. The shift happened fast, sometimes within a single generation. Parents with wide jaws and straight teeth would have children with narrowed palates and crowded teeth purely because the diet changed. The bone responded to the environment. When the chewing stress disappeared, the signal to grow disappeared with it. Your skull adapted to your world, and your world stopped asking it to grow the way it once did. Now here is where it gets strange. Your nose is not just for smell. It is an extraordinarily sophisticated processing system. When air enters through your nose, it gets warmed to exactly body temperature. It gets humidified. Nitric oxide, a powerful molecule that dilates blood vessels and improves oxygen uptake, is produced in your nasal cavities and carried directly into your lungs. Nasal breathing activates the lower lobes of your lungs, the parts with the highest concentration of blood vessels, where oxygen exchange is most efficient. Mouth breathing bypasses every single one of those processes. When you breathe through your mouth, cold, dry air enters your lungs unfiltered. Nitric oxide production drops. Your lower lungs stay underactivated. Your blood oxygen saturation, despite you breathing more, may actually be less efficient, and your heart has to work harder to compensate for every breath. Pulmonologist and researcher Jayakar Nayak has studied the structural role of the nose extensively. He describes it as a finely tuned physiological instrument that has evolved over millions of years to do exactly one job, and to do it extraordinarily well. Replacing it with mouth breathing is the biological equivalent of covering your high-precision camera lens with your hand and trying to take the same photo. Your nose was built for this, your mouth was not. But the consequences go even further. Consider sleep. If you wake up with a dry mouth, if you snore, if you feel unrested even after 8 hours, if you wake up with a headache, there is a high probability you are mouth-breathing at night. Mouth breathing during sleep has been directly linked to sleep apnea, a condition where the airway partially or fully collapses during the night, repeatedly interrupting your sleep cycles. Sleep apnea is not just exhausting. It is associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, depression, and metabolic disorders. Here is the counterintuitive part. Many people with sleep apnea do not feel like they stop breathing. They feel like they just sleep lightly. They feel like they are bad sleepers. They have no idea that the problem is not their sleep architecture, it is the position of their tongue, the tone of their throat muscles, and the way their narrowed airway collapses the moment they relax and their jaw falls open. The solution sounds absurdly simple. Keep your mouth closed. But for many people, mouth breathing has been their default for so long that they literally cannot breathe comfortably through their nose while resting. Their nasal passages are chronically inflamed from disuse. Their breathing muscles have adapted to a shallow chest-dominant pattern. Switching feels difficult, or even impossible. That difficulty is not weakness, it is adaptation. Your body adapted to the wrong pattern so efficiently that the correct pattern now feels wrong. The research of Dr. John Mew, a British orthodontist who spent 5 decades developing what he called orthotropics, suggests that the posture of your tongue inside your mouth plays a critical role in facial development. When your mouth is closed and your tongue rests on the roof of your mouth, it acts as a natural brace, pressing outward against the upper palate, stimulating the bones to grow wide and forward. When your mouth is habitually open, your tongue drops to the floor of your mouth. That outward pressure disappears. The palate narrows and rises. The entire midface structure grows differently. Mew's work remains controversial in mainstream orthodontics, but the core anatomical logic that form follows function, that bone responds to mechanical force, aligns with a large and growing body of evidence in developmental biology. Your face is still changing, even now, even in adulthood. Bone remodels slowly but continuously in response to the forces placed on it, which means the way you hold your mouth, the way you breathe, the way you position your tongue are not just habits. They are instructions your skeleton is receiving right now. This is where the modern mirror gets uncomfortable. Look at the numbers. Roughly 60% of people in industrialized countries are estimated to be chronic mouth breathers. A significant percentage of children breathe primarily through their mouths during sleep, which is a period of critical facial development. The rise of orthodontic work, of braces, of sleep studies, of sleep apnea diagnoses, of ADHD diagnoses linked to poor sleep, of anxiety disorders that have been correlated with dysfunctional breathing patterns, all of these things trace in part to a chain that begins with how a population eats, how their faces develop, and how they breathe. You were not taught how to breathe. No one ever told you that the way your chest rises instead of your belly might be a problem. No one checked whether you were a mouth breather as a child. No one explained that the shape of your jaw had anything to do with the quality of your sleep or the efficiency of your heart. Because everyone around you was doing it the same way. The wrong way became so common it disappeared. It stopped looking like a problem because it looked like everyone. And yet, spend any time with people who have deliberately relearned correct breathing, who have worked to restore nasal breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, slower breathing, and they describe consistent results. Better sleep, lower resting heart rate, reduced anxiety, improved athletic endurance, clearer thinking, not because breathing is magic, but because they have simply stopped doing something that was costing them quietly, constantly, all along. 20,000 times a day. That is how many chances your body is giving you right now. Each one is a small signal sent to your lungs, your heart, your blood, your nervous system. Each one is either the signal your body was built to receive, or the subtly wrong version it has been learning to compensate for. You took your first breath on the day you were born. You have taken every single one since without thinking. And right now, without moving a single muscle except the one that was always supposed to move, you can take the next one correctly. Your diaphragm has been waiting your entire life.